Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Jonathan again with the Weekly Scuffle, and I'm here to talk about Victor Wembenyama, Scoot Henderson, and the 2023 draft, and why I believe it's kind of the ushering in of a new era. You got people like the Thompson twins and other draft prospects who are kind of this new mold of 6'7", 6'8" wings who could also play the shooting guard position because they have the skills of shooting guards, but they have the athleticism to sometimes who knows even play the four. And you got some 7 feet demigods who are able to play in the perimeter on both offense and defense. You got 6'3" point guards who, granted, aren't the greatest shooters and are not 6'8" like the newfound LaMelo Balls and Cade Cunninghams, but are somehow still super effective and have a super promising future in the NBA regardless of the era we're in, which in my opinion is a little confusing, but you know, players that could hoop can hoop, and if you're a really good hooper, you will find your way to the top of the game. And honestly, I think that is happening with these two guys. I think Scoot, he really impressed me. He did not back down. I didn't watch that many Ignite games last year. I had heard that he was the best player last year, and he proved that against Wembenyama. Well, he didn't prove he was the best player out of all of them that came out last year. They had some solid players. Jaden Ivey, I believe the guy that the Pelicans drafted. I'm blanking on his name, but you know they had some solid players, and I think Dyson Daniels, and I think that Scoot really found his form. He clearly worked hard because the one knock on him was his shooting last season, and he improved that. He showed that the last game. I really liked how easily he got his shot off, and even over Wembenyama. I believe there was one at the beginning of the first game where he shot it over him, put up mid-range jumper, and he splashed it, and I really liked it. And as for Wembenyama, what can I say about this man that hasn't been said before? He is the number one pick. I doubt he won't be unless some crazy injury happens. Praying, knocking on wood that it doesn't happen. But regardless, I think he's the number one pick. And the two teams I think will end up with 1 and 2. Maybe not because of the lottery and how it works now. In my opinion, are the Spurs and the Jazz. And me personally, I would love for Wembenyama to go to the Spurs. I'm sorry, Jazz fans, but I really would love to see what Pop could do with another big. He's had Robinson, he's had Duncan, and I would just like to see what he could do in Wembenyama, give Pop one last dance, and let's see what happens. But if you're a Utah Jazz fan, and let's just say you do end up with the second pick, that is, in my opinion, an amazing consolation prize. Scoot, in my opinion, probably gonna be a top guard in the NBA at some point. Will that happen? We have to see. But I think he has all the tools to do it. If he could figure out his shooting, he has potential to be the best guard in the league. I believe, and I feel like most people would too, if let's say prime Derrick Rose, prime John Wall had a good 3-point shot, they would have been probably the best, if not one of the best point guards. And even without it, those two at their peaks were probably close. Derrick Rose, probably number one. John Wall, probably in the top three. I mean, you could argue maybe a year here or there he could have been one. But granted, I do think that Scoot does have that sort of potential. And I honestly am very excited to see how he plays. I think a city like Utah, a team like Utah, not the hugest market, but at the same time, I think Scoot provides fancy passes, great athlete. I think he could be definitely like what a Jaw was to the Grizzlies. And hey, you just traded away your two franchise cornerstones. You get this type of talent, and then you already have like 20 other picks. I think that's great for that franchise moving forward. And honestly, I think Scoot, Wembenyama, whatever teams they go to, I feel like they will find success. And I'm very excited to eventually see them in the NBA. I do believe both of them will be great players in the NBA, but it's a wait and see thing. It always is with prospects. No one's ever a surefire thing, but these guys do have top notch potential, and I can't wait to the draft. But with that being said, we'll see how all this plays out, and see you next time. Peace.